Hi, my name is Eloise. I am an admissions consultant here with the Profs, and today we're going to be talking about whether you should go to university to study law or whether you might want to consider a degree apprenticeship. So to give you my background, I studied law at university. I went to Cambridge, and after that I did the traditional route back in the day, which was a training contract, and then I spent about 4 years in corporate law. These days there are so many other ways to enter the profession, which really makes the profession much more accessible, much more expansive, and just so many other exciting opportunities alongside the traditional methods of studying a law degree and then training to be either a barrister or a solicitor. So today we're going to compare the law degree to the solicitor apprenticeship. Just to note that there are other forms of apprenticeship out there, so other apprenticeships in the legal profession might include paralegal apprenticeships or legal secretary apprenticeships, and coming soon in the next few years the barrister apprenticeship route. But today we're just going to be talking about the main degree apprenticeship in the legal profession, which is the solicitor apprenticeship. So this video is going to be split into two main parts, the first one comparing the two and the second one telling you why you might consider one over the other depending on what you're interested in and what your skill set is. For more information on the degree apprenticeship itself and the specifics about it and how to prepare best for your applications, check out our other videos on screen now. So we're going to start with a comparison of the law degree and the solicitor apprenticeship, and let's start with the application process. So for your law degree, as I'm sure you will be aware, you apply after your So we're going to start with a comparison of the application process for the law degree and for the solicitor apprenticeship. So for your law degree, as I'm sure you're aware, you apply after your GCSEs as you're studying your A-levels through the UCAS portal if you're a UK student or an international student, slightly different processes. You will select universities, you might go on an open day, you might have an interview, especially if it's Oxford or Cambridge, and eventually you will get an offer for your law degree and you will get your final year results and then you'll go on to study at university. For the solicitor apprenticeship, you will be applying at a similar stage. So while you're in your A-level studies, you might be looking around and thinking about your applications for the apprenticeship. Instead of applying to universities through UCAS and selecting your universities, you will be looking directly at firms that offer the apprenticeship, and you'll be applying directly through those individual application processes. For your university applications, you'll be thinking about things like your UCAS form, your personal statement, your references, your interviews, maybe LNAT as well, depending on the universities that you apply to. And for more on any of that, please check out our videos on the law degree application process and the LNAT, which are on the screen right now. Meanwhile, for the degree apprenticeship process, you'll be going through several stages with law firms depending on which firm you apply to, which will normally consist of an online form, potentially a video interview or a phone interview, and then an in-person open day where you will often have assessment exercises, group activities, and maybe a one-on-one interview as well. One key difference in the application processes here is that while for your university applications you will have one portal, so you have UCAS, where you can check the process of all of your applications in one place, for the degree apprenticeship, depending on which one and which firms you're applying to, you may have to keep track of those all yourself because they will be separate individual processes. So my recommendation is to make a big checklist or a spreadsheet of everywhere that you're applying to, the process as you're going through it, tracking where you are in the process, the outcomes and any feedback that you gained along the way. So for your academic law degree, you will be looking at the main elements of the academic side of law, which will be things like criminal law, constitutional law, tort, and then maybe into things like European law, family law, depending on what modules you pick. And while you're learning the law, you'll be looking at things like case law or legislation, looking back at the source material to try and discern how the law was made, what motivations were behind it, understanding how the law is applied in different scenarios, and thinking about how the law could change in the future from an academic perspective. Meanwhile, in your apprenticeship, you will be a little bit more hands-on with the law, thinking about applying it to often commercial scenarios. So the main law firms that are currently offering the degree apprenticeship route are predominantly commercial law firms, although in the future this could be much wider, so you might be able to do it in different areas like family law or immigration law or something else specific to you. In your degree apprenticeship, while you also will be studying the law, it will be more on a part-time basis, so sometimes 2 days a week or 1 day a week studying or a self-study day, plus some days in the office where you're working on real life cases and real life application of law to a client problem. In terms of the outcomes of either of these routes, obviously with the law degree, you end up with your law degree, which is an extremely competitive industry and regarded as a top quality degree, especially in the UK, but also internationally. It's really important to note that this degree does not enable you to immediately practice law. You would then have to go on to take the SQE and qualifying work experience and make your way into the profession, either as a solicitor or a barrister. But both of those routes are open to you, as well as doing anything else that you would want with your law degree. Meanwhile, for your degree apprenticeship, you end up with, again, a degree. If it's a qualifying degree apprenticeship, you will end up with your law degree. And also, you will make your way into the profession, but only to your specific route for the apprenticeship. So, for example, if you're doing a solicitor apprenticeship, you would end up with the solicitor qualification. And the same if you're doing an apprenticeship to become a paralegal or a legal secretary. So while you can use the degree apprenticeship degree to go and do anything else, to start a business, to go into consultancy, to do really any other job that you want with that law degree, it's important to know that your route will have already taken you into one side of the legal profession. So in terms of the skills that you will gain from either side of this, your law degree or your apprenticeship, there are some significant crossovers. So law is quite a consistent discipline in the sense that there will be similarities between the academic study of law and the practical application of law in your degree apprenticeship. Some of these consistencies include reading and writing, so the ability to read a lot and enjoy it is really important, both for your academic law degree and for your degree apprenticeship. Also, writing, the ability to express an opinion, to advocate for yourself, to understand a client's problem and apply the law to fit that problem. Time management and organisation, working within teams, a little bit more important for your degree apprenticeship than it is for your academic law degree, but ultimately working alongside colleagues or peers is really important for both. So now to the differences. I think the academic law degree requires a little bit more passion for the law itself, for the actual theory of law, for where the law is headed, for where the law came from, really the understanding of law as an academic discipline. This is because the law degree is really focused on the academic side of law, so you will spend a lot of time thinking about the nature of the law, really looking into the details of how things are formulated and how they're applied in practice. On the other hand, the degree apprenticeship uses a little bit more commercial awareness. So that's when you're really applying the law out there to a dynamic, changing problem in a very fast-paced environment. So if you're someone who really wants to look at the business side of things, the finances, the economics, the market dynamics, the client's problems and their ever-changing scenarios, the degree apprenticeship might be something that you're more interested in. For the university experience, this is obviously the traditional student experience, so this can be quite self-reflective time, where you're really in control of your own schedule to a certain extent, and you're doing a lot of thinking, reading, writing, planning, organising your own time, and obviously all of the other student elements that come with attending a university. On the other hand, in the legal apprenticeship, you are somewhat subject to other people's schedules and time. So when you're in a huge business like a law firm, you are obviously part of a huge team. So you're working alongside other people, you're often working to very tight deadlines. So if you're someone who really likes to be challenged, who likes to have external requirements placed upon them, this might be something that you're interested in. It is important also to address the financial aspects of both of these choices. This is actually one of the main reasons that the degree apprenticeship was introduced, is to expand the opportunities and accessibility of the law profession. So it's important that everyone gets an opportunity to become a lawyer if they want to, and university is a huge investment. Even if you're taking out loans or you have finance, it can really be a challenge for many people. And so the apprenticeship route really offers a way into the legal profession that helps you earn from day one. So whereas university is an investment of time, of money that you don't see immediate returns on, the legal apprenticeship route does allow you to earn while you learn. So you're studying for your degree and at the same time you're being paid a salary. It's important to note that while you obviously don't get paid while you're studying at university, you will eventually have the degree that enables you to go into the profession. And when you enter the profession, you will be on the same level as someone who also came through the degree apprenticeship pathway, and they are also qualifying as well. So you will all kind of end up at the same level, but different routes together. A final note on your personality and your values and what might make you choose one route over another. I think for people who are ready to go into the world of work, who really want to get going, who want to maybe move to a big city, especially if you're still living at home or living somewhere a bit more regional, if you want to get into a big London law firm environment, the degree apprenticeship could be a great option. But do remember that this is a very intense working environment that you'll be in from day one, and you're still very young if you're coming out of A-levels to be immediately into the world of work, so that can be quite a big step up. This might be well suited to someone who is quite business orientated, who's maybe had a few part-time jobs, who's done some work experience, who feels ready to throw themselves into the corporate world. On the other hand, university forms a bit of a bridge between your A-level studies and your introduction to the world of work. So for people who want a little bit more time to delve into some ideas a bit deeper, to write, to reflect, to read more, to learn more, and also for those who want the traditional university experience, the university path might be the better one for you. In terms of how hard each path is, they're both difficult. So law is a very challenging subject, whether you go straight into the practical application of law or whether you're studying it at university. I would say how hard it is really depends on what kind of learner you are, which is why it's so important to just get to know yourself and your interests, your values, your skill set, and your preferences before you make this choice. So some questions you can ask yourself. So if you are someone who likes a lot of time and space to develop their ideas, who really wants to think deeper and more critically about the law itself, the university route might be the most challenging for you because that really engages that skill set. And meanwhile, if you're someone who really loves to be challenged with boundaries and deadlines and a lot of pressure, time pressure, organisation, management, and practical application of the law or problems to everyday scenarios, the degree apprenticeship route might be more challenging for you. In terms of the lifestyle, which one is harder or more challenging, the law degree is obviously an incredibly difficult and challenging degree, one of the hardest in the UK system. So this means a lot of reading, writing, late nights, deadlines, essays, things like that, exams. And meanwhile, in the degree apprenticeship lifestyle, the challenges are a little bit more practical, so you will often be in an office environment, big teams, meetings, calls, emails, managing your time, as well as studying a couple of days a week. So as someone who studied and practiced law, I am often asked, do I think the degree apprenticeship route is equally valid or prestigious as someone who's come through a law degree plus a traditional route into law through a solicitor or barrister qualification? And I think the answer is yes. At the moment, the degree apprenticeship route is very new, so we're only seeing the first cohorts come through that process and enter the profession. But I think the trend is really clear across multiple different industries of how the apprenticeship routes are really changing the profession in so many different ways, making it more accessible, more diverse, more inclusive, and ultimately just more equal for anyone who wants a career in law. One thing I would say is that if you are a little bit unsure as to which side of the profession you want to specialise in, or what kind of law you want to do, or what kind of lawyer you want to be, I think it's worth really being a little hesitant about the degree apprenticeship route, just because these apprenticeships will put you on a particular track. So for example, if you know you want to be in the legal profession, but you're not sure whether you want to be a solicitor or a barrister, it might be worth either taking some time out while you do more work experience to figure out which path, or doing a law degree or another degree and then qualifying into law from the degree route. And this is just because the apprenticeship route will take you one way or the other, so you will end up with a particular professional qualification tied to your degree studies. And this is not to say that you couldn't use that degree to do something else in the future, but just be aware that it is quite an investment of your time and obviously a lot of training in a particular part of the legal profession. So for example, as a solicitor or a paralegal, or in the future, a barrister. So if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, please drop a comment below and we'll get back to you. Please do share with a friend if you know anyone who's thinking about either a law degree or a degree apprenticeship scheme. And if you are after any support, guidance, more information, or just help with the process of applying either to a law degree or to an apprenticeship scheme, at the Profs we have a team of admissions consultants who are experienced in every aspect of this process. So please do get in touch using the information on the screen now. And as always, best of luck with your applications.